Hey kids, Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel and back to another bike review. And today I'm on a bike that is absolutely right up my street, on paper at least. It's the brand new for 2025 Triumph Tiger Sport 800. It's a big fairinged Triumph triple comfort all-rounder, which is right up my street. So stick around and stay tuned. I'll let you know if it lives up to its promise. Okay folks, welcome back to another bike review here on the Mr. Flyer. Beautiful day for riding a bike, and I'm really happy to be riding the Tiger Sport 800 because I'm a bit late to the party, frankly, with this. I should have ridden it months ago, I don't know why I didn't. Now, I used to be a Tiger 1050 owner. In fact, it was my first sort of really big adventure bike, I suppose. And I loved that bike. It had the 1050 triple in it, which was a stonking engine, but it was a tall old beast and it was a heavy old beast. So in some ways this is sort of like a spiritual successor to that bike. Well, I'm glad to say it's not as tall and it's not as heavy. Right, as usual, before we get into how she rides, let's have a look over the bike and some of the little design touches and features and so on of this machine. Right folks, I'll give you the 2025 Tiger Sport 800. Quite a handsome looking beast, I think you might agree. Well, obviously beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I think it's a nice looking machine. I'll grab the camera and I'll show you some of the little features on the bike. So starting at the front end, quite oddly, they've got the front mudguard I actually quite like on this. They've got this little design feature here, which I think looks really nice. It's a small point, but I rather like it. Another thing I like about the front of this bike is this sort of running light they've got here. If I turn her on, I don't know if it's going to actually, there we go. There we go. You can see that you just get that middle bit when you're in daytime running light mode. Annoyingly, when you put the headlights on, you only get one light on, which is a pet hate of mine, but I think I'll leave it set in that mode because I think that looks great. So let's turn that off. Something actually, as you look down there, these massive handlebar risers on there, it makes it a comfortable bike to ride, but these look quite ugly, don't they? The screen doesn't work that well. We'll talk about that more later. It does look a little bit reminiscent, that front, of my old Tiger 1050, which was a bike I love the look of. I do quite like this black, and I very much like the contrasting yellow decals on it. I think my favourite of the bikes, though, is the yellow one that they do, which is a bit like the yellow Daytona looking thing. In fact, you could almost think of this as a stretched, more powerful version of the Daytona. Well, it's not more powerful, but it seems fast. Anyway, we'll get onto that when we do the riding. Coming down the bike, the exhaust. Now I quite like this. It could be a bit louder, to be fair, but it looks quite neat. And I quite like what they've done with the box underneath, in that this one's gone sort of black. I don't know if that's a finish on it or whether it's blackened out with use, but it does mean it's sort of muted and you don't have that hideous big box staring back at you like you do on so many bikes. I think that looks all right. I quite like the little belly pan as well with the yellow decals. They've seemed to have done away now with writing Triumph on Triumphs, don't they? They all had this little triangular version of the Triumph logo, which I quite like actually, is fine. Coming down here, this bike actually came from Triumph to me with panniers and a top box fitted, so I think this must be their top box plate adapter, which is an ugly thing. And another ugly bit is this that's added on to the passenger foot hangers. Look, this is for the side panniers to latch into. So if you go for the Triumph panniers, you have all this extra stuff to put on. I just think it looks ugly. I mean, the bike would just look better without that, wouldn't it? You know, coming around the back, it could really do with a tail tidy, but couldn't everything. Got a remote adjuster for the suspension on the back. There we can see the quick shifter. What else we've got? If we come down here, quick look at the switch gear. We'll talk about more of this in a minute when we do the ride, but classic, typical Triumph switch gear. And unfortunately, it's got that horrible TFT, which we've seen on so many of the Triumphs. But again, we'll talk about that in a minute. But just superficially looking at it as a, you know, design statement, is it a nice looking bike or not? Very subjective. But to my eyes, yes, it's a nice looking bike. Okay, welcome back. Stuck behind a Kia at the moment, but I'm sure we'll dispatch him in short order. Hello, we've got a road ahead closed. This is not good. This could all go to pot very quickly. Anyway, we shall see. So the Tiger Sport 800 then. What's it like to ride? Well, I've ridden the smaller brother of this, the Tiger Sport 660. I really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. And this, as I said in the intro, has promised to be a great bike, because if that was a lot of fun and this has got a bigger engine, then surely it's just got to be a better bike. Well, we'll see what we conclude after the ride. There's a little chance to overtake here. Let's start off, as ever, with comfort on this bike, riding position, that sort of thing. This bike, I have to say, is very upright indeed. When you sit on it, you are bolt upright. It's very, very comfortable. It's quite leggy. Your legs are quite relaxed, and the handlebars are in a nice, neutral, natural position. It is a very comfortable place to be. The only thing that does hamper on the comfort slightly is this windscreen. Although it's big and it's manually adjustable, it's not actually very effective. You might be able to hear, well, hello, what's going on in this road is definitely looking closed ahead. I might have to turn around a sec. Although you might be able to hear the wind blast on my face. Even when you move it into the upper position, I then find the wind sort of spills straight into my face. In fact, I prefer it in the down position. So we'll leave it down. But yeah, it's not quite as good on the wind blast front as I thought it might be. But minor gripe was everything else about it. From a comfort point of view, is nice. The seat is quite nice and roomy. I'm a medium-sized guy, 5'8", and I find there's plenty of room to move around on the seat. So if you're taller than me, I think you'll be absolutely fine. I'll get my feet flat on the deck on this bike as well, even though it sounds quite tall. We'll go through the specs in a minute, the usual way. Yeah, it's a very nice, natural feeling place to be. I like it a lot. You can almost think of it as a touring street triple almost. This engine, absolutely amazing. Triumph are just the masters of the triple, aren't they? This is superb. This bike comes with a quick shifter as standard, which works really well. It just adds to its sporty credentials. It's quite quick, this actually, noticeably more powerful than the 660. It's got, I think, 30 brake horsepower more than the 660. It's only a couple of horsepower down on the street triple. So indeed you can think of it as a street triple, sort of on stilts if you like. Right, let's go up my little suspension handling road. Nice and plush feeling up here actually. Not jarring me fillings out, which I do on some bikes up here. Nice and soft. It's definitely set up, you know, so that you can go touring on here. You'll be comfortable all day long on this, no problem at all. Suspension feels good. This riding position is super comfy, as I said, but it's also very tall. It feels like you're quite a long way off the deck on this bike, which is pretty good from a conspicuity point of view. I think if you were going to use it as a commuter bike, you know, riding into town and stuff, you'd see over traffic a treat on it, and also people would see you coming. Handling wise, this fits into what I call the fit and forget category. In other words, when you go set it up for a bend, it feels nice and stable. Now usually that's the case with really weighty bikes, and this isn't particularly heavy, so it must be to do with the way they've got the geometry set up. But as you go around a corner on this, it just tracks around really, really nicely. It just feels sort of planted and stable. Yeah, for an all-rounder, a sort of a touring bike, even on these back lanes, it's just a fun thing. You can chuck it about, and that together with the quick shifter makes it a really fun bike to ride. Let's have a little look at the switch gear here. It's typical Triumph, quite simple, basic, straightforward. The only thing I don't like with this is this bike's got the optional spotlights. It's got this hideous button here, which I assume is for it, but when I press it, it doesn't actually seem to do anything. So goodness knows what's going on there, Triumph, but I hate that button. I think I'd go aftermarket spots if I was minded to get some additional lights on the bike, and a bit of a lower key button, because that is just ridiculous. And while I'm on a bit of a whinge, it's got that horrible Triumph TFT on here as well. I mean, it's perfectly clear, it does all you need it to do. It just looks about, you know, well, it's dated, isn't it? It's 10 years too late. They could improve it, even if they just got rid of the shiny plastic screen on it and put a matte one, it would improve it. But these days, when you can buy a cheap Chinese bike and it has a beautiful TFT, there's no excuse for Triumph to still be knocking out these basic looking things. Anyway, this is my handling road. Again, it's pretty bumpy, but it's got some nice little twists down here, and one thing this bike really does well is handle, and it's great. As was the 660, this just feels a lot faster. What I am missing is a bit of that Triumph triple noise. You can get an optional Acra can for this, I imagine, or N can. I imagine it's probably quite expensive, but I'd be very tempted to get that as an optional extra, just to give it a little bit more sound. Actually, one stopped here. Look, my feet flat on the deck either side at 5'8" with a 32-inch leg. And it feels nice and light, this bike as well. You can chuck it about. Yeah, it's eager. It's got a lot of torque on this, and it seems to be everywhere. There's no points at which it feels like the acceleration is lacking or, you know, slowing down. I imagine the torque curve is pretty flat, so not really a curve. It feels nice. Right, there's nothing behind me. This car's very slow, so I think we'll just check out the braking situation once I'm around the corner. Actually, it's overtake. Couldn't resist. This quick shifter is superb. Alrighty folks, it's time for the old lugging about test. Let's take it to the station car park. See what it's like, simulating moving it around in a garage. Check out what the turning circle's like. See what it's like to get off the side stand and move around. Is it going to be heavy to move about? Is it going to be easy to live with? Right, I'll stick it in the middle of this here standard parking space. People often say to me, why don't you park it on a white line? That would be a much better test. I agree with you, but I've been doing it for so long like this now, I'm loath to change. Anyway, that's not a good excuse, is it? Right, before we do that though, I just want to show you the side stand, because it's a chunky old monkey on this. Look at that. That is, I mean, it's not a particularly beautiful design, is it? It's just an old bit of pipe that's been welded, but it does look strong, which is good, because I recently rode the Triumph Scrambler, you know, the big 1200, and that had a really stalky looking affair. That one looks like it could take a bit of stick. Anyway, that's by the by. So let's get off the side stand, then turn around full lock, see what she's like. So feels nice and light to lift up, no problem there. If you want to get yourself into a nice good all-rounder that's easy to move about and lightweight, not going to give any grief, this I suggest should be on your shortlist. And round we go. Now that is basically the middle of that parking spot from the middle of that one. So that's an average turning circle on here. The tight ones sometimes I can get closer to that line, wider ones get on that line. So sort of an average turning circle, no problem there, which given it's got that big fairing is quite good, and really quite straightforward to lift off the side stand. It doesn't lean over a long way. It's yeah, it's going to be easy to live with, this bike. It's a nice looking thing, isn't it? Right, just thought I'd do some slow speed riding as I come out of the car park, and look, I haven't got my hand on the throttle at all, and it just maintains 9 miles an hour. So basically you can't go slower than 9 miles an hour unless you put your brakes on and slip the clutch. But the fueling's lovely at this rate, so if you're in a traffic jam doing 9, you'd have no problems at all. In fact, let's bring the clutch in and see how slowly I can ride it. So there's 5 miles an hour, 4, 3. Yeah, nice and balanced. I'm going to move on because that woman looked at her car at me funny. I suspect she wanted to pull out. Anyway, yeah, easy to ride slowly, nicely balanced. Yeah, it's a fun bike this. If you're off on your tours, you'll be comfortable on the motorways, and then when you got to the Alps or River, you'll have an absolute blast on this. Right, let's try out those brakes now. Yeah, they're pretty good actually. There is a little bit of fork dive, but not as much as I thought there would be. If anything, they're lacking a little bit in feel. They are a little bit wooden, but they do stop you. Let's try the rear brake's very good actually, surprisingly. This engine urges you on to ride in a bit of a hooligan manner. I'm liking it, Triumph. Nice work. Handles beautifully around these corners as well. It just feels light and agile and eager. Corker, coupled with that quick shifter, it's like a super comfortable street triple. Nice. Alrighty, well, I'm enjoying it some more around these bends. Let me take you through the spec. Okay, quick whiz through the numbers then, starting with that engine, which is the peach in this particular fruit salad. Okay, this is the 798cc triple cylinder, puts out 113 brake horsepower and 84 newton meters of torque. Those are pretty good numbers. Brakes on the front, they are badged Triumph, but I think they're actually made by Huan. It's got twin 310mm floating discs on there with 4-pot radial calipers. On the rear, we've got a single 255mm disc and a single piston sliding caliper. Suspension on the front taken care of by Showa 41mm upside down separate function cartridge forks. They are adjustable for compression and rebound damping, and they give you 150mm of wheel travel. On the rear we've got this Showa monoshock RSU with adjustable rebound damping and that remote hydraulic preload adjuster that I showed you earlier, 150mm of wheel travel on the back. Seat height is actually a very manageable 835mm, and there are lots of different seats available for the bike if you are shorter or taller. Weight of the Tiger Sport 800 is 214 kilograms wet, so it's actually pretty light for this sort of bike. Tank capacity 18.6 litres, and it's pretty good fuel wise, I understand, so pretty good range out of that tank. Now when I talk about electronics, I always turn the dash on for some reason. I don't know why, but there we go. That is an electronic thing, I guess. But I've written down here the electronics. So it's got riding modes, road, rain and sport. It's got cornering ABS, switchable traction control, that quick shifter of course, cruise control, which is a bit basic, LED lighting all round, that TFT which we've looked at, and it's got Bluetooth connectivity if you're into that sort of game. Price of the bike, according to the Triumph website, is from $10,995, which I think actually is a pretty good price. And optionally, you can get heated grips, an Acura slip-on, tyre pressure monitoring, optional seats as I talked about, luggage and all sorts. Comes in yellow, blue, grey or black. This black is probably my least favourite of the colours.
Okay, welcome back aboard the bike, folks. Now sometimes when you talk about all-rounders, you know, it's a bit of a disparaging comment on bikes, isn't it? Because it's sort of can be sort of code-speak for boring. But as hopefully you've already seen, this bike is anything but boring. It's exciting. For an all-rounder to be exciting, that's quite a feat. I think Triumph have pulled off a blinder here. And as much as I love the 660, which this bike is very, very similar to in a lot of ways, I think it might even share the frame, I'm not sure. It's certainly a similar sort of size bike. As much as I like that 660, I'm thinking, well, why would you buy that when you can get this 800 that's just got that bit more, much more excitement about it? Although the 660 wasn't boring, this bike's just a bit more serious. Just thinking about what some of the competitors for this bike would be. I suppose the obvious one is Tracer 9 from Yamaha. I've not ridden the absolute latest one of those, but that the triple from the Yamaha is amazing. It's the same as the triple in the MT-09. I absolutely love it. It's the CP3 motor, and that is the ace of that bike. But the trouble is with the Tracer 9 now, it just looks pretty horrible with all the weird lighting arrangement on the front. So I think this definitely trumps it on looks. The Tracer 9 trumps this on electronics, but this I think is a little bit cheaper. So out of the two, I think I'd probably go Triumph, but then I am a bit of a Triumph fanboy, to be honest. Then there are bikes like the F900 XR from BMW, which I think looks probably the best of all this type of bikes. He's a lovely machine, but isn't as much fun as this, that's for sure. And then the other bike I suppose that you could put in this similar category, although it's not a triple, is the new Multistrada V2 from Ducati. But that is a lot more expensive. I think that comes in somewhere around 14 grand, so that's significantly more expensive. I don't think it's this, and what's the old? It's a 125. Fine, nothing wrong with that. You've got to learn on something. So yeah, the Multistrada is a lovely bike. But you know what? I think this is more fun than the Multistrada, and it's considerably cheaper. So out of that batch, for me, it would be between probably the BMW, because I like its cuteness, I like its TFT and so on. It's a nicely made machine, that F900 XR. And this, so I'd have to ride them back to back to decide, but at the moment I'm thinking the Triumph would probably trump it. What this vehicle in front of me needs is a few more flashing lights. Clutch on this is lovely and light. It's got that Triumph slip and assist clutch that they put on so many of their bikes now. It works really well. Not you need to use it that much because you've got this awesome quick shifter, works both up and down, and again works really well. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this bike. I've seen a few other reviews, not recently because I didn't want to have those in my mind as I was riding it. I wanted to come at it with a fresh brain, as it were. But I remember everybody saying it was a very good bike, and I have to say I concur. So let's go through, shall we, the pros and cons, and what are the things I don't like to start with and things I do like. Well, I don't like that TFT. We've talked about that before. Come on Triumph, sort that out, get a better TFT going on your bikes. I don't like this button that they've added on for, I assume, the spotlights. Doesn't seem to do anything, but don't like that. I haven't mentioned the cruise control on here. It has got cruise control, so that's great. but it's on a button on the front here, and it's basically on or off. You can't change the speed it's set at once it's on, that sort of thing. So it's a very crude cruise control. In this day and age, you'd hope for something maybe a little bit better than that. The windscreen, not as effective as you'd hope. So those are all my whinges. That sounds like quite a lot, but none of those in isolation are a big deal, I don't think. Hello, sir or madam. None of those in isolation are a big deal. None of those would put me off the bike, because it really is a lovely bike to ride. It's fast, it's lightweight, it puts a grin on your face. That's the most important thing about a bike, isn't it? It makes you feel good. I like this a lot. If you're not interested in going off-road, but you do want to do some longer distances, or you just want to have one bike that can do it all, definitely worth considering one of these. I think it'd be very easy to live with. It's easy to move around. It's frugal, it's got a decent fuel tank, good fuel economy, and a good price. So yeah, all in all, big thumbs up for me for the Tiger 800. If you're in the market for a bike like this, do go and check them out. Right, thanks as ever for watching. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Till then, this has been Listen and Fly. Cheerio.